I'm going to say x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 25. So now we're going to really do this complete the square thing, and you'll see why. B does not equal 0. In other words, we're looking at this thing as ax squared plus bx equals some constant c. That's what we want to make it look like. All right? Technically, what we want to do is we want to have x plus or minus some number p squared equals some constant c, and then we would take the square root of both sides. Okay? So let's go through that process. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I get x squared plus 4x is equal to negative 4. Now here's the trick here. To complete the square, complete the square. Completing the square is a process or an algorithm that's the same every time. You're going to add, first thing you're going to do is you're going to move constants to the right of the equal sign. Step 2. You're going to take b and divide it by 2 and square it and add to both sides of the equation. Okay? So I'm going to say x squared, actually, let me show you the step. So I'm going to say x squared plus 4x is equal to negative 4. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add b. What's b? B is 4, right? B is the 4. So I'm going to say 4 divided by 2 squared. Can I do that? As long as I do it to both sides of the equation, I can. So whatever I do on one side of the equation, I have to do on the other side. You'll see why we're doing it that way. Yes?
You do 25 minus 4 equals negative 4.
Oh, yeah, it should be 21.
Yeah.
Sorry. This should be 21. And then this should be 21 as well.
It's 21, not negative 21.
Yeah. 21 plus that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now what I end up with is I end up with x squared plus 4x. Now what's 4 divided by 2?
2.
2. What's 2 squared?
4.
4. So this equals 4. And then I have 21 plus 4. What's 21 plus 4? 25. All right, now watch this. This will work out the same way every time. You're going to end up with x plus or minus, technically it would be plus, x plus b over 2
All
squared. Okay, you're going to end up with that every single time if you do it this way. Now, what does that mean? This is actually x plus 2 squared equals 25. Now, if you don't believe me, you wouldn't be required to do this all the time, but to prove that, if I say x plus 2 and multiply it by x plus 2, I get x squared, 2x, 2x, and then I get plus 4. So when I combine all that together, I get this stuff. So whatever b is, if I divide it by 2, is squared and add it to both sides, I create a perfect square on the left-hand side. Most of these problems are rigged up that you'll end up with a perfect square on the other side. Not always, but most of the time. So before I move any further, are there any questions about what we've done so far? Okay. Now this process right here, this is what we do every time. As long as we do this every time, it'll work out. Now, if I take the square root of this side and the square root of this side, remember this is like x squared, or x plus 2 times x plus 2. Right? And when you take the square root of that, you're left with what? Just x plus 2. And what is the square root of 25?
Plus or minus
plus or minus 5. In fact, you should probably put plus or minus here, but we'll say plus or minus 5. Now this is where we get our two answers from. If I subtract 2 from both sides, I get x is equal to negative 2 plus 5 and x is equal to negative 2 minus 5. Negative 2 plus 5 is just 3. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Okay? Does that make sense?